Now we're going to kick off today with a woman who is really, really on a mission. And when I say really, I could add about another like 5,000 reallys to that, because I've only known her about 3 weeks, but I feel like I've known her a lifetime. She came to RippleFEST 20, which was only 4 weeks ago, the actual program of RippleFEST. And I can't wait to introduce you to it. So let me tell you a little bit about Neen. She's an intuitive confidence coach. She's an artist. You want to see her art. It's amazing. You make sure you follow her because you'll see all of her artwork that she creates. She's an author and she's a founder of the world's most heart-centered movement, guiding women to embrace their inner warrior goddess and bring them back to love. I love Neen's story because after graduating from uni with a psychology degree, she ran a successful telemarketing company. Couldn't be further from what she's doing now. But on Valentine's Day 2016, everything changed for her. She used hypnobirthing. I'd never even heard of hypnobirthing. Has anyone here heard of hypnobirthing before? I didn't even hear that it existed. I didn't even know about it until Neen started talking about it. But she used hypnobirthing to birth her son, and get this, the primal connection to source that she felt during labor and watching his soul jump into his body as he was born meant that life would never be the same again. I can kind of understand how that might change things. Telemarketing just isn't cutting it after that, right? She goes through that. Telemarketing isn't going to cut it anymore. And I mean, I can certainly see why. So in December 2019, after losing her voice for 3 months while she was pregnant with her second child, she closed the company. Neen learned that when the world falls apart, surrender is the only way forward. Give me a hashtag surrender in the comments if that is something that you've learned the hard way through your own experiences. Well, Neen's Back to Love movement helps women to trust, accept, and love themselves, no matter what situation they find themselves in, so that they can trust that the universe well and truly has their back. She's now on a mission to move women from warrior to warrior. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Miss Nene Forder.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Oh, brilliant.
Neen, welcome to RippleFEST, my darling. This is your first RippleFEST being on stage.
I know. No, it's been amazing. Honestly, the whole journey is great. I think I did do RippleFEST years ago when I had the telemarketing company. Yeah. But it wasn't ever going to work for me then because I was trying to like be, woohoo, I love telemarketing. What? I really do. No, I really do, honest. The energy just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. Whereas this time around, it was like, boom, found my home. This is the right place for me to be. So
you know, and it was so lovely for you to come and join us at the last RippleFEST, because it was the last time that we were running the RippleFEST program in the way that we were. And of course, people can sign up and go through the program now, but I'm not running it live anymore. But Neen, in the time that I've known you, which is a very short period of time, really, it's only a month, although I feel like I've known you a lot longer, because you joined the mastermind, and I've been seeing you pretty much every day since then, working on your programs. But one of the things that I love most about you is and I see you getting so passionate about it. I think that's why I love it so much, because you're so magnetic when you talk about it, is how you show women that they can move from warrior to warrior. So tell us about that journey for you, because I know that you were a warrior and now you're a warrior. What was that journey? Because it didn't just happen overnight.
No. Well, to be fair, a lot of it was I put off having kids because in my head, I was going to die in childbirth. So I put off having kids, and I got to 35 and I said to hubby, we're going to have to do something now if we're going to do it. Instantly found a hypnobirthing coach, and she said, oh, you're a bit early on, come back. But honestly, like you've already said, throughout the labour, the preparation I did with the hypnobirthing, which to be fair is about knowing all the facts, trusting yourself and your body, and then the feeling of, because I was someone who, and probably still am, overthinks, gets a lot in my head. with the hypnobirthing, I was able to actually trust my body when it took over. If I hadn't had that training, I'd have been like, oh my God, what's happening? And the fear would have kicked in. And it was literally, I remember laughing during labour, and I felt like, honestly, I walked around saying to people, and I think it's funny now, the reason I'm smiling is because energetically I started doing this. I used to walk around saying, if I could give birth every single day, I would.
What?
Overdoing my day
I've
job.
always been so terrified. That's why I've never had my own children. I've always been so terrified of birth. I don't know what it is. There's something about birth that has always just totally frozen me.
Yeah, and the thing is, it starts really, really early on. It's funny, I was talking to hubby the other day because my son's at school and they're just talking about Adam and Eve. I'm like, hang on a second, even back then, they're talking about, oh, we're going to punish all the women and make it awful. When actually it doesn't have to be that experience. So that feeling of me being totally in my power, I was walking around like, woohoo, this is great. And then I only had 8 days maternity leave that I could take after, because hubby was ill, and I was here in this office with my baby in the seat, trying to work, managed to make it work for a bit. But the worry, it just wasn't, for me, it's just like I say, telemarketing, it just wasn't fulfilling anymore. I'd had that most primal experience. But then you see, I was walking around like the smug mummy telling everybody, I love my labour. And they would look at me like, are you bloody mad? So the second time came round, hubby and I were a bit stressed, like we had to close the company. We didn't practice. We did none of the practice. I assumed all the hypnobirthing stuff would kick back in. It didn't. So my second labour was actually, like everyone else's first labour, bloody quick, bloody painful. And I was the one there saying, I need to know what my options are.
Oh,
and hubby's trying to do the hypnobirthing things. And I'm there, you effing try it. I was that woman. But I kind of feel grateful that I've had both experiences, because I'm not quite such the smug mummy who's like, oh, it can be amazing. It can. But I understand now why people used to look at me like I was nuts. But anyway,
I want to dive into it for a moment, because
go for it.
You like what the bit that I mean, I'm always so curious, and I am a very curious person. My husband calls me nosy, but I'm going to label it curious.
We're curious, yeah.
So, like, just walk me through. You see your son's soul jump into his body. Like, I need to be taken through that.
Okay, well, it goes back even further. The short-ish version is, I just became aware that I had this ability to pick up spirits that had died in accidents. One day, this guy appeared in my room, and I knew him as the singer of a band, and I'm like, oh. And then I saw an announcement to say that he died in an accident. He became my spirit guide. We were working together for about 5 years. I came into my garden here and did a meditation. And the meditation was, I was sat in a field and all of these angels came and stood in a circle, and my spirit guide came and he got this ball of light, handed it around each of the, I'm getting goosebumps, handed it around each of the angels to bless it. And then they put it in my stomach. And then 2 weeks later found out I was pregnant. And it was like, oh. Okay,
I'm going to just use what the actual fuck at this moment. I feel like I need everybody that's watching this now to give us a hashtag, what the actual fuck. So that everybody, I'm feeling the gravity. Like, is it just me that's quite a trip?
Yeah. And then because I also went to a jewelry class, I've even made a bracelet of that journey, like done it like cave art too. But anyway, I was really, really close to my spirit guide, and he was there at the labour. I'm chattering away, and I said to him, you told me just one more push. And Simon, my husband, turned around and went, no, I didn't. I wasn't talking to you. And yeah, I was stood giving birth, stood up. He was the other side of the bed, and at the very moment that I pushed out my son, I saw him just go zoom, and then the whole relationship between him and I changed.
Right, I have every hair on my body standing up right now. So your guide had basically been, I feel quite emotional about this. So your guide was actually there so that he could become
through it, a part of it.
Fuck. Excuse my language.
Do you want me to tell you something even freakier that you won't know?
I don't know if I'm grown up enough to hear it.
Oh.
Do you need to tell me when I'm older?
No, it should be fine, but there's a similar very quick...
I'll brace myself.
Okay. Roll on a few years. One of our cats was diagnosed with cancer, so I was an animal communicator, really pushing it at that point, so doing psychic readings for people's animals. I came home, told all the other cats, look, Tiggy's got cancer, and Archie, my ginger cat, turned around to me and went, well, I'm not going to be here for long because I've had enough, but it's all right because I want to come back as your kid. And I'm like, okay. And again, within about 2 or 3 weeks, he got this really aggressive leg cancer, passed over really fast. And at the time I was teaching a course with the vet, my local vet was on the group. So I was telling them, oh, I had this weird conversation, don't know where it comes from. And then the leg cancer appeared and we're like, oh no. So he was old, he passed on. 2 weeks later, it's about 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I was pregnant again. It's like, oh, my cat came back as a baby too. So anyway.
Well, it's kind of like anything goes in your world, isn't it?
So yes, and I have put in my journals, I have made a point of going, I'm not going to make this too woo-woo, because I
feel like we really need to bring out the woo. We're calling the woo out here.
We're calling the woo out.
You just mentioned journals, so let's tap into that, because you went through RippleFEST.
Yes.
You brought all this experience, and I remember when you went through it, you were like, well, do I focus on telemarketing? Do I go my woo way? Do I what do I do? And you rolled around for a few days at the beginning of RippleFEST, like, oh, I'm not quite sure what. Even like day 3, day 4, you'd made a decision, but then you were still coming back to the idea, as most people do, so it was totally natural to just keep sense checking in. Is this the route that I'm going? And then you committed to it, and you said, well, I'm going to make journals. I'm going to, because that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to incorporate your art, your spiritual experience, your life experience, all of the things that culminate to the you that you are now, and put them into programs. But before you were ready to create the program, you wanted to create a journal that would then birth the program. So tell us a bit about these journals, Neen. Like, what are you doing, and what artwork are you putting on? Because you're painting an artwork for them as well.
I'm still working on this one, but that's going to be a contender. And at the moment, I've got this one on the front. I don't know if you can see that. So, yeah, they've got my artwork in them. Also, some of the photos and things I've taken over the year, I've put in them too. I did write a book, actually, with my spirit guide. And do you know what? Even now, I pick it up and I'm like, wow, did I write this? Because the stuff that I channeled from him that was like, I'm your best mate. This is how we get through this. This is how to reframe everything. So I've blatantly taken some of that and some of his words as well and incorporated it into there because it's so supportive. And the journals, I'm going to be doing a 7-day journal. I think I'm going to also do a very specific one about moving from fear to love, and a 30-day journal, because the fear to love section's growing arms and legs, and it feels like it wants to be its own baby, so to speak. But they are kind of guided journals with a bit of me saying, look, this is why you need to focus on this particular thing, like, if there's fear knocking, how to deal with that. Exercises to actually help you through it, a bit of a journal reflections on it as well, and just it's like where you get guided meditation. It's a guided journal to really help people go through the process so they just feel better about themselves. Because honestly, that's the whole warrior to warrior. I look at my old journals now, my old just write in the notes journals. Every single page is, dear angels, please help me with money. I don't know how we're going to live. No. And it's just fear. It's like pages of fear. And I'm there thinking I'm going to have to burn them at some point because I can't. Ugh. But that's how it can feel sometimes. And it wasn't until we closed the company, I had my second son, COVID came along, and I said to hubby, surrender. I can't, do you know what? I've done all I can do now. The universe has got other plans. Let's see what happens. And then things started to fall into place. Like you wouldn't believe. We're talking people come out of the woodwork saying, I'll pay your mortgage every month. I'll do, just amazing stuff. just
that just really goes to confirm, doesn't it, that, that you know, when we surrender, that when we let go, we grow. Yes. And Neen, I wish that we had more time to talk. I know, but we're going to have to get you back on a future RippleFest. But just tell everybody, like, how can they reach you? Like, can you go and put a link into the Facebook Live?
I will indeed. I've got an email which is hello@backtolove.life, because that felt really good when I saw that the other day. Backtolove.life. Yeah, that's what we're all after, guys, girls, guys and girls.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thanks you.
Sammy, for everything.
Back to Love, that's spelt with a T-O. Backtolove.life. Yep. Love it, absolutely love it. We had Charlotte Kelly from Soul to Soul on one of our past RippleFests, and obviously she sings Back to Life, Back to Reality. So that was a brilliant session, and yeah, I think that could be maybe one of your theme songs. Neen, thank you so much for being with us, guys and girls. Give it up for the amazing Nene Forder.
Thank you, everybody.
Look forward to seeing your journey. I can't believe it's only been 4 weeks that you've been on this journey. Look how far you've come. And